There's lots happening today in sports. Here's Squire.
Yes, indeed. We'll start off with the game we saw earlier on BCTV. Vancouver Canuck fans did not want their favorite hockey team to treat Sunday as a day of rest, which is the way the Vancouver Canucks treated the third period against Toronto last Wednesday. The Canucks were facing the Chicago Blackhawks this afternoon, a team playing Game 5 of an 8-game road trip. Kurt McLean was a starting netminder. And the very first shot, 8 seconds into this game, goes in. Brent Sutter puts it in off the glove. That's not the fastest goal ever scored against Canucks. That record held by Danny Gare. Set that back in 1978. So it's 1-0 Chicago. Make it 2-0 because Bernie Nichols scores in the power play at 6:11 of the first. And another Chicago power play.
Without the helmet. What a great young player.
Gary Suter from Chelios scores. It's 3-0 for the Blackhawks. And then the Blackhawks again. Hedigan tripped up there by Chelios. Now it's Eisbart to Nichols again. It's third of the year, 4-0, 14:26 into the first period. Canucks now on the power play. Jeff Brown, he's in on goal. Scores! 4-1. After one period. Could the Canucks mount a comeback? Well, the answer is no. 1:23 into the second period. Bernie Nichols, is he open enough? 5-1. Canucks on the power play. Down 5-1. Trevor Linden, his first goal of the year, deflecting in that shot by Jyrki Lumme. Now it's only 5-2, but less than a couple of minutes later, again, no one checks Paul Eisbart, and he scores, and it's 6-2 for Chicago. Now it'll be 7-2 as Lumme loses it to Nichols. He goes in and he scores. 7-2 beats Kay Whitmore, who's now in goal for the Canucks. To the third period we go. And again, this time it's Jeremy Roenick. That makes it 8-2 at 5:29. 10 minutes into the third period, it's Paul Eisbart. It's 9-2 for the Blackhawks. Could the Canucks get a little back? Well, actually, they could get a little back, but too little too late here. Although this is a nice goal. Linden to Dave Babbage makes it 9-3. And at 17:15 to the third, Pavel Bure here to Dana Merzen. In front to Cliff Ronning. 9-4. That was the final as the Blackhawks ran all over the Vancouver Canucks.
If I knew exactly what it was, I don't think it'd be happening. Whether you bench people, whether you take the Mike Keenan approach or whatever, this team has never had that approach, and to do that, I think would even tighten the grips even more in the stick. But at the same time, it's my responsibility. I accept the blame. It's up to me to work it out.
Why did you make the goaltending switch?
Well, I thought it would be a good chance for Kay to get some work, and obviously Mac wasn't sharp.
I wasn't deflated. I hope not to think that the guys were. You know, it's a downer. There's no doubt about it. But you know, you want to get back in there and bounce back and go right at it. But you know, it's tough to take 8 seconds into the game, and a tough one like that. But you know, that happens.
The fans are beginning to wonder. We're in the fans today, man. They're throwing a lot of booze and a lot of crap.
I mean, they've always thrown booze around here. I mean, that's the Vancouver fans. They want you to win, and they can scream and yell and boo and cheer whatever they want to do.
There was nobody really throwing the Hawks, or from the Hawks throwing the Canucks around per se.
No, they're too busy throwing goals in our net to think about that.
They were fun, let me tell you that. Some great plays. You know, Chris made just a super play on my first goal, and Paul Eisbart my second goal, and Pooley on my third goal. So, you know, obviously you're in the right place at the right time, but the guys are finding you, and, you know, it was a lot of fun today.
Bernie Nichols has always been one of those players, the puck just seems to follow around the ice, and when he's on his game and he's putting them in, he is one of the most dangerous players in the league. Third time in his career that he has scored 4 goals in the game, does it against Vancouver as the Canucks get crushed at home. Let's check out some other action. Whalers and Nordique. Stefan Fiset against Sean Burke. And the first goal of this game, Wendell Clark. Oh, the Nordiques have their own music when they score. Andrei Kovalenko in the third period as Uwe Krupp makes the nice pass, and it's 2-0 for the Nords. Well, there's that fanfare again. They don't play it, though, when the opposition scores, and this is what happens here. Darren Turcotte puts it in, 2-1. Now a chance for the Hartford Whalers to tie it. Wesley's in alone. He screws himself up into a knot and doesn't score. 2-1. Open net here for Scott Young. Et le bout. Les Nordiques ont gagné la soirée de hockey et 3-1. 3-1 the final as Wendell Clark gets his 4th goal of the year. That one was actually in the power play. The Nordiques have won for the 7th time in 8 games. Lightning and Sabres. There's old Dennis Savard in the twilight of his career with Tampa Bay. First period action. Peter Klima scores! 1-0 for the Lightning with the bizarre numbers on the back of their jerseys. Now watch this. Here's a couple of shots. Another shot. Pupa with the save. Pupa with the save. Oh, Pupa with the save. Pupa with the save. Pupa. He scores! Someone finally got it in. It was Wayne Presley, 1-1 after 1, 1-1 after 2 in the 3rd period. The only goal, Donald Odette. That's the winner against the former Sabre goalie, Darren Pupa, as Buffalo wins this game by the score of 2-1 over Tampa Bay. A couple of games are in progress. Of course, the Penguins, they have yet to lose this year. They are leading 3-2 in the 3rd period against New Jersey. And Anaheim right now has a 2-0 lead over the Kings. That game is in 2nd period intermission, just ready to start the 3rd. Well, it's a tournament where Bill Murray becomes more popular than the best golfers in the world. The Pebble Beach Pro-Am entered its final day today with Kenny Perry on top of the leaderboard and Bill Murray on top of his game as well. Let's go to the Monterey Peninsula. This is the 18th hole. Celebrities paired up with pros in the Pro-Am event. And Scott Simpson on number 18. This is Bill Murray's partner. Look at this shot.
Hit it in the water off the tee at 18.
Oh! Like it had eyes, and Bill Murray helps Scott Simpson celebrate to the fans that you were not worthy and a tip of the hat. Now, Bill Murray, he may clown around, but this guy can play golf. Look at that little putt right there on number 18, and Mr. Murray says, hey, I could be a pro golfer, but I'm making too much money as a comedian and an actor. Peter Jacobson. Nice looking carpet he's putting on there. Tom Watson.
Boy, that's beautiful.
Yeah, that was pretty nice, and a little Bill Murray type celebration. Peter Jacobson was the guy they had to catch, couldn't do it, sinking the putt right there. He picks up the win at the Pebble Beach Pro-Am by 2 shots over David Duval. Kenny Perry, who led after 3 rounds, shot an even par 72, and that wasn't good enough. The only Canadian to make the cut, Ray Stewart, was 6 back at the finish. Good tournament for Ray Stewart. In the seniors event, J.C. Sneed won a playoff against Raymond Floyd to take the Royal Caribbean. Let's check out some basketball action. The Heat and the Sonics down in Miami. Sonics are hot right now. Sean Kemp with the dunk. A little give and go with Kendall Gill. There's Billy Owens putting it in for 2, but the Sonics led 34-17 after 1. They were up 64-40 at the half as Kendall Gill puts in 2 of his 21 and a pass from Nate McMillan. Now more Sonics baskets. Sean Kemp with the jam. Gary Payton, left hand, he had 18. Sean Kemp finished with 26. Whoa, putting it in for another deuce as the Sonics ran away from the Heat. Cooled them off, you might want to say, 136-109. Orlando in OT against New York. A victory there for the Magic, who, of course, lead the Atlantic Division standings. Houston hammered Phoenix, and it was Charlotte over Washington in another afternoon contest. Pro Bowl, the AFC versus the NFC, and oh, Barry Switzer conferring with one of his buddies there, guy with the big hat. This is the NFC. Steve Young. Look at the catch by Chris Carter of the Vikings. And he's going to go 51 yards for the touchdown. NFC up 10-0. The NFC has won the last 11 Super Bowls, but this is a different game. Leroy Horde of Cleveland goes in for the touchdown after some neat stutter steps. 17-10 in the 2nd quarter. The hero of this game for the AFC. A great fake to Marshall Faulk. And look at him go. Touchdown. AFC wins it, and wins it big. A little bit of revenge there as Bill Cowher celebrates, the Steelers coach. 41-13. The AFC over the NFC as Marshall Faulk, 180 yards rushing. He picked up the MVP award. Well, here's a bit of irony. While the baseball players of today remain on strike, feeling they're worth even more than their outrageous sums they already make, the Grand Old Game celebrates the 100th anniversary of Babe Ruth's birth, a player who treated the fans with the utmost respect a man not one of today's players could hold a candle to.
It's a homer by Babe Ruth.
Long before baseball had superstars, George Herman Ruth was a star. From humble roots in Baltimore, he came to symbolize America's favorite pastime.
There's no question he was the best baseball player who ever lived because he could do everything.
Ruth grew up at St. Mary's Industrial Training School, sent there by his parents to instill discipline and to teach him a skill. What he learned best was baseball. In 1914, his hometown team, the Baltimore Orioles, signed him to a $600 a year contract. Much younger than the other players, he was nicknamed Babe. It stuck.
He was Mr. Baseball.
Years before Mel Allen became the voice of the Yankees, like every other kid, he was a fan of the Sultan of Swat.
Boy, it was a chance to see, with a little G, chance to see God, you know.
Before he became a slugger, the Babe was a record-setting pitcher for the Boston Red Sox. After helping win the 1918 World Series, Ruth was suddenly sold to the Yankees.
And right off the bat, he hit something like 59 homers.
And he kept hitting them, pulling larger and larger crowds, enabling the Yankees to build the stadium forever known as the house that Ruth built. The Babe even called his shots in advance. The most famous was in Chicago in the 1932 World Series.
Well, I looked down at center field and I floored it. I said, I'm going to hit the next pitch ball right past the flagpole. Well, the good Lord must have been with me.
And Ruth himself there on the bases said, oh, you lucky bum, you lucky, lucky bum.
In his 21-year career, Babe Ruth hit 714 home runs, a record that stood for 40 years. He revolutionized the game.
Up until then, pitchers dominated. Other players began to realize that the way to reach success more quickly was to be able to hit the long ball.
He had tough times, too. Fights, suspensions, and numerous run-ins with officials and managers. But few dwell on the sad stories. On this 100th anniversary of his birth, Ruth is most remembered for his powerful bat and his love of the game. And another 100 years from now, Babe Ruth will still be Mr. Baseball.
It was pretty good for a guy with a little bit of a pot there. Actually, they said that Babe Ruth had amazing speed, especially in the outfield. You don't often hear much about his fielding, but he could field quite as well. Not quite as well as he could hit, but quite well.